Welcome back in to the OIG podcast. I'm Kevin Orsinger. With me today is Max Messett, episode number 9, The Reality of Retirement. So, Max, clue me into what that means. What are we looking at here over the next 10 or 15 minutes?
Yeah. So reality is retirement. I think it's a big part of a conversation that maybe is looked past a lot of the times in what we do. Obviously a lot of the work we are is investment side, but not breaking down always of what true retirement looks like. I think money is the first thing that comes to mind, as it probably should for are you going to be in a successful retirement spot? But also that second part of that conversation is something like this of what does retirement truly look like? And I know, Kevin, I know we talk about for some, it's sitting on the back porch drinking a cup of coffee every day. And for others, it's vacations and, a lifestyle that's traveling and maybe more money involved. Not right or wrong either way, but we just wanted to kind of come on here and talk a little bit about what the reality of that actually looks like.
And depending on what avenue you choose, retirement can be a little bit more expensive and probably more expensive than people realize.
Right.
Over the course of, if you're lucky enough to get out at age 62 or 65, you're looking at 25 years probably on the average of retirement. So, healthcare costs are a big part of that.
Yep.
Again, if you're lucky enough to live 25 years in retirement, inflation is going to play a big part of that. The cost of goods and services over that 25-year retirement period are probably going to double. So whether it's your cable bill or streaming services or the cost of your homeowner's insurance, what it costs in year 1 of retirement and what it costs in year 25 of retirement are significantly different numbers. And hopefully we've done enough preparing in advance of that to have money available to provide you the kind of retirement you want. We always joke with people, it's not retirement if you want to go do stuff and you can't afford to go do it.
Right.
Right. If your retirement is eating cat food and keeping the heat that turned down to 62, so your the cost of heating the house does not go up. Is that really retirement? So you want to be in a position that you've saved enough for the lifestyle and ultimately the retirement that you want.
Yeah. Yeah. And kind of with that, Kevin, it's something that we talk a lot about. If you're somebody that's watching this and you're not retired yet, now's the time to prepare for that. It's too late if you're just thinking about it once you're retired of how do I now prepare myself. This is the reason we're talking about the realities is just kind of set that foot forward of what it could look like for people as they, everybody's reality is a little bit different. But everybody's reality probably should be the same of the earlier that you start, the more that makes the reality a real reality of going into retirement. So kind of the point with this podcast as well is like a lot of them is to kind of show you how important those first couple steps are to set yourself up for the true retirement conversation that you want to have. And I think that's the important part is everybody's retirement does look different. We can't decide that for you. No one can decide that for you. You're going to have to decide that. But with that is also you're going to have to decide the sacrifices that you're willing to give up earlier to have that lifestyle in retirement that you want to have. And for some, it's maybe not a huge change. And for others, it is a big change because of that lifestyle. And we have that conversation a lot. We really do.
Yeah, it's you can't decide 3 years before retirement that you want a second home and you want to vacation a bunch. If you haven't planned for that, that planning again, if you're 20 years old, just start saving. The compounding growth of things will help you out. As you get closer to 50 and you're 10 or 15 years away from retirement, that's really the time of, what does retirement look like? We have clients we talk to about, do you plan on traveling? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Either it's just not something that interests me or I've done enough through my working years that I really don't want to do that. As Max said, that's perfectly fine. It's not for us or any financial professional to tell you your retirement should look like X, Y, or Z.
Yeah.
But to give yourself the opportunity to truly do the things that you want to do. For a lot of people, it's just, I just want to chase the grandkids around.
Yeah.
They've got ball games or dance recitals or something with the Boy Scouts. We just want to be involved in that. So that's going to keep us local to where the family is.
I think with that too, Kevin, not to jump in there, but also is a lot of clients sometimes is I want to travel all the time. I want 5 vacations a year. And then it turns out that's not the case. So I think it's good to live, to have the higher expectations of what that could look like. But we run into that a lot of, I'm probably going to take 3-week vacations and go down here and travel here. Year comes around, year ends, and it's like, I went camping once and I went to the beach for 5 days. What else did you do? No, that's all I really wanted to do. So not that that's a problem, but we see both sides of that ball as well, kind of like you were hitting on.
Yeah, and better to be financially prepared to travel a bunch and choose not to do it than to want to do it and not have the means to be able to do that. One of the things that you'd mentioned coming up to this, that retirement is a lifestyle. It's not just financially driven.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that a little bit, Max.
Yeah. So I think it's a mindset shift personally of kind of what we've seen, what we've dealt with. You're going on to a fixed income side of things. This is not, you don't determine how much you make necessarily. This is all the effort that you've put in ahead of time. It does turn into your lifestyle. That's why when people say I'm retired, it holds some weight of, okay, so you have some fixed expense or fixed income, of drawing off, the money that you save. Social Security comes in. I know we've talked about these income buckets before. And that really is what it turns into, is you are going more to a fixed income lifestyle that you have to then wager with what is your current lifestyle and how do we make those two match up. It is a financial move in the route of you have to be, as Kevin talks about a lot, very connected with your money, because you can't just willy-nilly and I hope I have enough and let's just throw some pieces together and make it work per month. I'm big on budgeting, and I think as we talk about young individuals starting their first budget, I think it's just as important to probably run a strict budget in retirement as it is in the beginning, because it allows you to see where are these buckets of money that I'm able to pull from, what are those amounts, and on a monthly basis, are we going to have money left over? Are we not? Are we super tight? Are we still saving some money? Kind of going to really put the puzzle pieces together for you to see your month to month in retirement. And it is a lifestyle. It is that now you're figuring out what your lifestyle looks like for the next, hopefully 25, 30 years.
Yeah, there's plenty of data that speaks to, you can spend 30 or 35 years preparing for retirement financially, but if you don't make good decisions in the first 5 years of retirement, you can also ruin it.
Yeah.
Again, this money has to last you 20, 25, 30, 35 years. 401k money, IRA money is kind of locked up. Yeah. There's IRS penalties to get after it before age 59 and a half. So it's money that's on a piece of paper for you, but then you retire and the money is completely available, provided you're over that age. And for some people, it's hard to keep their hands off of it. They have whatever that number is, however many hundreds of thousands of dollars in that account, that now it's like, oh my gosh, I'm rich.
Yeah.
And those that make good decisions and understand this has to last me for quite a few years generally do better than those that look at it as an unlimited pile of money. Because whether it's 500,000 or 7 or $1 million, that is a lot of money. But if you're taking out $100,000 a year from that, it is not going to last forever. The math doesn't work on it. So yeah, we're always cautious. The other thing that pre-retirees talk to us about is it's going to be weird not having a paycheck. Yeah. For 35, 40 years, you've every other Friday, I will say, money showed up in your bank. Yeah. And all of a sudden go to retirement and know that stops. And sure, once a month, you're going to get a Social Security check. If you're lucky enough and you had a pension, once a month, you're going to get a pension check. But it's a little bit different from a budgeting standpoint, that you're not getting that checking account replenished twice a month. So, as we fill in gaps financially for clients with money from retirement savings, we try to do it, if your Social Security payment is the last couple of weeks of the month, we'll try to make your investment withdrawals the first couple of weeks of the month. So it kind of feels like, every couple of weeks, money shows up in my bank account, and alleviates some of that stress. Obviously, Max and I have not retired ourselves, but it's a consistent, not fear, but a consistent concern with people that, how does this work? How do I get my money? And it's important to understand that it can get structured any way you want it, and what way makes you feel the best.
Kevin, with that, what do you think? I know you kind of hit on longevity of money, making it last, making sure those first couple, 5 years are a really important time when you call it quits in retirement. You think that's kind of the most common mistake you see? What's something that really you think head into retirement mistakes not to make, maybe, or what that looks like?
Yeah, we don't see the 5-year one in our office as much, because I think we're cognizant of it. And we're willing to have client conversations of, listen, we always say it's your money. You take out as much as you want, spend as much as you want, but it's our responsibility to tell you if the amount you're taking out is sustainable, again, over a 25, 30, 35-year retirement. I think the biggest thing that comes up is those people that 3 months before retirement want to have their initial conversation of, do I have enough to retire?
Yeah, that's exactly where I was headed.
It's never too early to meet with a financial professional and just have the conversation of, based on what I have now, based on what I'm saving, hypothetically, what does that look like when I'm 62 or 65?
Yeah. And
then the second part of that question is, how much money can I draw from that on a monthly basis to go with my Social Security, to go with my pension? So yeah, I think the biggest mistake that pre-retirees make going into is not giving enough forethought far enough in advance, 10, 15 years in advance of, am I doing things correctly? If not, what do I need to change? Because this is how I envision my retirement to be.
Yeah.
I do want to take 3 or 4 vacations a year. And better to find out that at this stage with what you're doing, you're not going to be able to do that in 15 years than to find out 3 months before your retirement date that, I'm sorry to tell you, you just don't have enough saved to draw enough income to make that happen. So yeah, if there's any advice I'd give to anybody with this, you want to improve the reality of your retirement and start talking to somebody as early as possible.
Yeah.
Even if you haven't had this conversation and you're 60 and you want to retire at 65, have that conversation very soon with somebody.
Yeah.
Understand your situation, understand what it looks like. And then you have a 5-year window to make adjustments to improve it if it needs improved.
From my side of this, I'm going to just leave it out there. My common mistake being on the younger generation side of this is not starting early enough. I see it. We work with it a lot of times. So if you're somebody that's in a younger spot that is watching this, and I mean younger spot is under 50 years old, then you haven't started, start. If you have started, I think Kevin is exactly right. Talk to somebody. The earlier you start working with somebody that can guide you down the path of, hey, here's what this could look like, and here's probably the steps to get there, the better you're going to be connected with your money, and you have a vision for what that can look like in the future. And the quicker you can do that, the better you're going to feel, and the more of that reality is going to come into play for you. With that as well, we talk a lot about retirement, and this is one of my favorite ones, is to review, adapt, and stay flexible. Those are 3, and I just said them right off the sheet because those are just the truth of the matter. Is you want to make sure you're staying connected, reviewing what you have, seeing what it's doing. Adapting comes into play. As Kevin said, things get more expensive. So you might have to adapt with taking more money, taking less money. You know, markets are up, markets are down. What's that look like to you? And then staying flexible is the biggest one for me. I don't think you can roll into retirement with this set in stone plan of what this looks like per month, every single day, and how I'm going to be. After 5 years, your lifestyle might change. You might say, I've traveled enough and I don't want to do as much. You might say, hey, I haven't done enough in retirement. I want to start to travel. That's the ability to stay flexible of, hey, maybe a couple months I need a little bit more money because we're going to go take some trips and we want to go explore. And on the months that you're like, you know, really good just sticking around for 30 days in our house and hanging out and drinking coffee, that's okay too. But being flexible on that and working with somebody to let them know that's your plan kind of is important with your money. And I love the way that kind of phrases it because it really is it's a flexible plan. I don't think it's not something that, hey, when I turn 65, here's what it looks like for 25 years. Right. You don't want to be pigeonholed into that as well. You need to be able to have that flexibility, what that looks like. Things can come, things can go, things can change. That's the excitement of retirement. You get to determine day in and day out of what you want to do, who you want to spend it with, and how you want to spend it. So I think that's just big to keep in mind of letting yourself feel that freedom and be able to be flexible. It's not a strict on the side of the money that you have, but not strict on a thing of no one's telling you what to do, how to do it. And things can change as that retirement progresses through.
Yeah, everybody goes through the same flow of retirement. You've got X number of years, and it varies for people that you can travel, you can do a lot more stuff, you're a lot more active. Then everybody hits a certain age, and again, it's different for different people where, gosh, you know, the idea of getting to the airport and walking through the airport and getting on a plane just is not doable anymore. We've had either it's happened or will be happening. We've had 3 different households that have had second homes somewhere. that are now getting old enough to travel back and forth from their primary to their secondary, primary to a couple times a year, got tiresome.
Yeah.
And they have picked, this is going to be home base now. And they've sold one property and they've kind of downsized their life. So everybody has that. If you're lucky enough, it's 75 to 80 before you're really getting into that. And even later, for some people, it's early 70s. But keep that in mind. You know, that your activity level goes down. Therefore, sometimes your spending goes down as well. Let's do a quick review, Max.
Absolutely.
Go ahead and take this.
Yep, absolutely. So kind of some of the points that it's up there. Kind of some of the points we've hit on, guys, is, you know, obviously retirement's a little more expensive than you might think with healthcare, inflation costs. As everybody has seen, it doesn't seem like anything's got cheaper over the last 10 years. So something to expect as we go into retirement. That's one of the realities that's going to happen, something to keep in mind as you start to set that plan in place. Big one that we talk about is prepare financially before. Don't wait until you're about to pull the trigger on retirement and go talk to somebody. Give yourself time. See what that looks like. Vision the plan. See what you think see what you think your retirement is going to look like, and see if that's a reality for you and what steps you might have to take to really make that happen if it's something that you want to do. Retirement is a lifestyle. I think everybody can kind of feel that when you're talking to somebody and they say, hey, I'm retired, you know exactly what they're talking about, how their day's looking, and what they're doing. Avoid any common mistakes that we kind of mentioned in this. You know, longevity is a big thing. When you call it quits, you want your money to last 20, 25, 30 years. Spending's important. Ways invested is important. Working with somebody is just as important. I would say that's one of the common mistakes as well that Kevin hit on. Make sure you're having the conversations, being connected with your money. And then last, guys, is in that retirement. If you're lucky enough to be in that stage right now and you're watching this, or if you're somebody that's coming close to it, you know, make sure you're looking at your stuff, being connected to it, reviewing it with somebody, be able to adapt and stay flexible, because I think that's the excitement as well, is it allows you to do what you want day in and day out. You're flexible in your retirement, so be flexible with what that plan might look like and allow yourself just to enjoy it, because it won't. You worked hard to get there, and so now is the time to really enjoy those days and those years of the hard work that you've put in to get there. And as always, here's kind of our connection slide. Scan that QR code, check out our Linktree link. It will get you to everything we have: Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn on both sides. We have our text number on there. If you guys have any questions, please shoot us a text message with your name and the question. Any topics you might want to hear, we're getting big on that, of a question or a topic. Shoot it to us. We'd love to do a podcast on it to help anybody out that's listening. We just want to stay connected with you guys. We hope you guys are finding these a great listen, and we appreciate you listening, but we will continue to bring these to you. So, Kevin, I don't know if you guys need to wrap that up.
No, we'll that's perfect, man. One. That's perfect. Everyone enjoy. Hope you enjoyed listening to it, and you know, make sure if you missed some episodes, because this is episode 9, go ahead and back and watch the other ones.
Absolutely. Appreciate everybody watching.
Thanks.